I think that's probably enough of aimlessly watching the train. We can leave the train on, but I think it's time to transition to a part of the stream where I actually do something. And the first thing I'm going to do is talk about the YCS, if that's all okay with you. No, not Freaks immediately. We'll do YCS first, then we're going to do Freaks, okay? It's time for a little story time about going to the YCS and my experience. And first and foremost, I do want to start this by giving a heartfelt thank you to the partners of my fans. One of the biggest refrains I heard at this YCS was individuals who came up to me and they were like, "Hey, I love watching you, so much so that my partner will hear your voice and go, 'Is that fucking MBT guy again? Why are you listening to him?'" So if you are a partner of someone who cannot read the room and has to have me on in the background, I want to thank you personally for your part in this experience. I want to thank your perseverance, your willpower, and above all, your patience when it comes to both myself and your significant other. I know a ton of you are beautiful lesbians who lean over to each other and they say, "Northern Lion's on. Why are we watching this guy?" I thank you for that. Whenever my girlfriend sees the stream, she says, "It's that Yu-Gi-Oh guy that looks like a serial killer." All right, that's... Okay, whatever. Hey, you could just not say that. Ivy is constantly telling me we need to kill this white devil. That's also fair. Hassan is on. Give us a reason to stay here. You're going to go watch Hassan after the epic truth nuke that was dealt to him by the Honorable Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions. That's like super problematic. Real quick, while I'm here, I want to say, in case any of you missed it, last week, the cancellation document at Hassan did drop. I want to say unequivocally, I completely denounce him, everything he stands for, and all of his opinions. I didn't know that he was leftist. I thought he was just a video gamer. I was watching that thing and I was like, "Oh my God, this guy's like, he actually thinks like communism is good. Oh, holy moly. Oh God." I just want to say, I would never do anything like that. As you know, this channel strives to be and has been since its inception completely apolitical. I just don't care too much about politics. It doesn't affect me, as you can see, and I'm pretty sure it never will. That's how this works. So, I heard he hates the Rothschilds too. I do. Now let's open Twitter and take a sip of water, right? So let's talk about the YCS. This YCS I decided to try hard, didn't go super hot. I know that I have a lot of people preying on my downfall, and all I have to say is, could you pray a little less? One of these days, I'm going to prove you all wrong. Was not this weekend, unfortunately. It was not remotely this weekend. This became clear pretty early in testing, to be honest. This is just like the unfortunate truth of the matter is like, I just don't have enough time. Like, a lot of the people that I test with are like, you should probably expect to put in about 3 hours a day the week of the event, maybe 1 to 2 hours the 2 weeks beforehand if you want to get up to snuff when it comes to being like abreast of the format. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. I did not do that. I didn't come remotely close to doing that. That was a pipe dream. You know, it sounds weird to complain about not having enough free time when what I do for a living is card board, but I really didn't. And as a result, my inexperience really showed. We'll talk to it when we get into the games, but I did kind of forget to be my best self. So I did a couple of coaching sessions with Jesse before I headed out and landed on a list that I think was still probably card for card correct. Like, I like the list a great deal. It really was just my individual play that brought me down. So after doing that on Friday, I flew in, right? So I flew in early in the morning. This was actually, I flew out of Reagan 2 days after that plane exploded at Reagan. So I was feeling really good about myself. And let me tell you this, that plane was less crowded than I have seen in a long time. It was, in case you missed it, I tweeted, like, what are the chances? And it was a photo of me on the plane. While that may have been in bad taste, and I did delete it afterwards, think how funny it would have been if I had died in a plane crash. Like, it would have gone down in history. But yeah, Ball Twisting Wizard, incredible name. That was my thought process was like, actually, this is probably the safest airport to fly out of because, you know, they're all going to be like really paying attention right now, you know? So I flew JetBlue, which I don't get to honestly very often. JetBlue is kind of an airline for rich people. But if you order months in advance, you can get nice prices on them. Boy, nothing to say about JetBlue but positive interactions. Folks, I like JetBlue. What I don't like is the TSA. On the way in, they searched my bag. So my bag is usually searched at the TSA, and there's a couple of main reasons for that. Firstly, every time I travel, I do so with yerba mate, right? It's this loose leaf tea that I drink, and I carry maybe like 4 or 5 servings of it in a little plastic baggie, which does not look like weed, but if you're like the dumbest person ever, it might look like weed. And remember who is staffed at the TSA. So I get pulled over for that a lot. I travel with like protein powder. And usually what happens is I have to put it in a separate container because I don't want to bring the big ass thing with me, which if it explodes in the suitcase, which it did, just looks like I have fucking Fent everywhere. And then the Yu-Gi-Oh cards also trigger it. For those of you that have flown with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you know that they look pretty suspicious. It's a big plastic cube on the thing. And then I also fly with a CPAP machine. And sometimes they tell me to take the CPAP machine off or out, and sometimes they don't. And every time they're like, is there a CPAP in here? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you got to take that out. And I'm like, okay, I guess. I feel like you probably should know. So pretty much every time I get got. And this was no different. But I did have to warn them. I was like, please, there's protein powder in there in a really precarious position. Please don't let it explode. And they maneuvered it in such a way that it did explode. And I was like, oh God, here we go. So off to a great start. So I get on the plane. The flight was great, but I'm like shaking out my my luggage in the Orlando parking lot, right? So I come in, and the plan is I'm going to stay with Danny and Leah, who have already purchased like this big Airbnb with some other people, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll stay with you all. And so I go to do it, and I'm like, all right, let's make it happen. Third wheel. There were like 12 people there, and also not third wheel. If anything, Leah would be the third wheel. Why would I be the third wheel between Leah and Danny? There's nothing going on there. Anyway, we go. I'm prepared to go to the Airbnb, and Danny goes, we don't have that till 4. And I'm like, oh, so I'm just trolling around the event space with all my shit, which sucked. So I go to the pre-reg line. I pre-registered, and something went wrong with the computer or with my registration. So I had to wait in the line for dumb idiots who don't know how to work a computer and get it fixed. I just want to real quick shout out the Side Decks employee Kevin. He was the issue response guy on day 1. Oh my God. I watched this individual resolve like 40 people's I'm a dumb Yu-Gi-Oh player who doesn't know how to do anything problems in like an hour. Kevin, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much. So it did get it fixed. However, there were a couple of problems at the event. The first one was that there were no meowls. So I wasn't expecting this. I was intending to play 3 copies of Meowls in my side deck, right? for the Malice matchup. And apparently day one, they were just all out. I had asked some people to bring them. They told me they would bring them. And then I had a backup of like a second person who might bring them. Then there were the vendors, of course, who would have them. All of those people failed me. It was unbelievable. Every single person who could have not failed me failed me. Like I went to the first guy who's like, "Sorry, man. I know I said I'll sell you these for 45, but like, oh, people were just really looking for them." I'm like, okay. Second guy was like, "Oh, sorry, man. I couldn't." I'm like, okay. I'll go to a vendor. The vendors are like, "Sorry, man. They bought out our entire stock." I'm like, Jesus Christ. It was like, it was unbelievable. It was, and the worst part is I had planned on purchasing the Meowls from these third parties off-site, right? Because I don't want to break any of the guidelines. And upon doing that, that meant I was waiting off-site for these people that were not going to come because the Meowls weren't there. You know what I'm talking about? So then I had to go walk with all my luggage to 3 different locations to try. It was, it is what it is. Anyway, so instead I registered Bell, which, I mean, was just so embarrassing. I hated doing that. It's like the dumbest thing that I've ever had to do is register Bell over Meowls. It's like not the same card at all. I'm like, it's got utility against Malice. That's what the slot's for. No, whatever. What if I hit Labyrinth? Anyway, so it gets to be about 9 p.m. and I realize I haven't eaten. I was really happy to see everyone that I knew there, a ton of people, and Super Insane and Josh, Bean Soldier TV, had spent the whole day playing this game called Imaginary Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it's on Super Insane's Twitter, as well as Doug's, in which they just had a deck full of blank cards that could have been anything, and they played against each other. That looked really fun, but I didn't get to play any of it. So at about 9 p.m., I leave the event space with Danny and Leah, and we're all going to head back. And I'm like, we got to get some food. I've never had Korean fried chicken before. So we had Korean fried chicken because there was a place around us. Oh, man. It was really good. We ate it, a chain. And I was like, oh, it's a chain. It's going to be bad. It was the BB.Q or whatever. And I got, they were like, you can get an 8-piece, or usually like people might split a 16-piece. And I was like, I'm going to get a 16-piece. I got a 16-piece and I ate it myself. And I immediately went into a coma. I was like, oh, that's a problem. Oh, it was so much food. But it did slap. It was incredibly good. And then I go back to the Airbnb, and I just like have the TV on, and I'm like, and we watched like 4 Family Guys in a row. And by the way, Family Guy, it's not good. Was it always bad? I was watching and I was like, this isn't even remotely funny. Who was I talking to? I was talking to someone. It was maybe Danny. Oh, I think it was actually Half Miss, who was like, I have a belief that Family Guy is like the proto TikTokable show because it's only funny in the Family Guy funny moments. If you sit down and watch it, it is unwatchable. Yeah, it was Half Miss, yeah. It was, and I was like, oh, I guess so. So Saturday rolls around, we do the event, right? So I'll walk you through my rounds real quick. First up, round 1 was fine. It was against Sprite, person's first YCS. I opened Droll, I opened Nibiru. They like really couldn't play around it. It was just a deck from a couple formats ago. I felt kind of bad about it, but like, oh, and then before we start, this judge comes by and he's like, hey, because of your fuck up yesterday, you got a round 1 loss. And I was like, this is the first I'm hearing about it, but okay. And then I won the other 2, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I would have been mad though. Second one, I lost. It was Malice, and really my inexperience with the matchup showed. They were playing main deck Shifter, which I just was not familiar with. I have not played against a Malice playing main deck Shifter in a while, which meant like once they did it, I really didn't have an understanding of what lines they were capable of doing, or like if the place to interrupt them changed, which it did, obviously. They went for like a Heart's Cryptor play, and then I had an Imperm, and I Impermed the Heart's Cryptor, and then they like had an extender on their turn, which enabled them to like unnegate the Heart's Cryptor, and I was like, okay, I get it. We also had a weird judge call in there about like linking, what it means to be linked. Because they did get to the uninterrupted Nightmare board in game 3, and I had an out for it, but it required me to go node downlinked to a Requiem. And then I go Requiem effect, and they were like, it's not linked. And I'm like, it is linked. Linked just means there's an arrow pointing to something. And they were like, no, linked means there's an arrow pointing to it. And I was like, it's strange that linked exists as a keyword, isn't it? What is a link? And so we had a judge come over and explained it, and I think the guy wasn't buying it, but it was so inconsequential because he had like the response for it anyway that he was like, whatever, like I'm not appealing this. Round 3, I played against They Are Right. What? No, they're total. Wait, huh? No, you all are wrong. Chad, I hate to do this to you. Nightmare Griffin says special summoned monsters can't activate their effects unless they are linked. If you make an engraver downlink pointing to a random monster on your side of the field, the engraver can activate its effect. It is linked to the monster below it. If you're talking about pointing to each other, that is co-linking. No, some of you are actually learning this now. I guess this is not as widespread an amount of knowledge as I thought. You mean Requiem, not Engraver? Yeah, I do, yeah. One guide. There were multiple people. I made sure I wasn't getting one guide. Round 3, I played against Flu. I felt really bad for the person. Well, two things. Firstly, they bricked twice, which Flu. You know, what are you going to do? And also, like, I felt really bad because they were like, yeah, I'm on Flu, and it'll, like, dead some of the cards in your deck. And I'm looking at my deck, and it's like Perulias and like Lancias and Droll in the main, and I'm like, I don't actually know if that's true. I guess you don't get Fuwa lost. I mean, maybe that's unfortunate. But also, while we were playing, they had a phone out and they were like, fuck. And I was like, what's up? And they're like, this girl is texting me back, and she didn't text me back at all last week. As soon as I leave the house to go play in Orlando, she's like, yo, let's link up. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh today. I was like, isn't that the way it always goes? So round 4, I had to play in the VIP section. It was against one of the Goo Gaming people. We had a very enjoyable game. Unfortunately, another round where my inexperience really hampered me. I thought it was like they were on Ryziel Pure and I was on Fiendsmith Ryziel. And then in game 3, they lead Primite Roar. First Primite card I've seen all game, and go get Harpy Lady. Why did they do this? I was like, it's unexpected die. I should have sniffed this out. They're, of course, playing the Harpy Trap, right? And so I have in the hand Ash, Imperm, Nibiru. They go for Detonator. I go, I might as well Ash it. I'm always playing into Thrust anyway, because they're going to get to a position, because this is nothing. This board they have is nothing. So they are going to need to extend more, at which point I can leverage the Nibiru, right? So I go for the Ash over the Imperm, and they go, Thrust, set the Harpy Trap, and I go, oh. Okay. And I just kind of looked, I was like, I guess I'm dead. Whoops. Oh, man. So this is like when Sword Soul played Harpy Channeler, so it could do the same shit, LMAO. There's more stuff you can do with this card. It's like Fuwalos is also a winged beast. You can make Castel, I think, is also a winged beast, but you know, it is what it is. I would have known what they were up to if I just had more understanding of the format that I didn't. Round 5 was the mirror. I ended up winning. We got in a weird like Chaos Angel war where I had to go Chaos Angel to beat Chaos Angel, you know. And then round 6, I played the mirror again, and it was the worst game I've played in my entire life. And my opponent also played really bad. So like we were just like spaghettiing everywhere, and we were just like, I'm so sorry. Like it was bad all 3 games, but game 3 it was the worst. And neither of us could get off of the races, and like neither of us were finding engine. We were just trying to make stuff happen, and they end up winning as we approach time with like an Agnum Day line, and I'm like, okay, I'm taking this round to my grave. I'm not going to say any of the plays I made here today ever. And they were like, yep, okay. And so that was it. That was the run. And that is a pretty disappointing outcome. I want to be like at 3-2. Oh, so there's a couple things I'd like to improve. First and foremost, while I felt like the deck list itself was probably correct, I felt pretty bad about my understanding about my amount of practice. Like I should have been able to, under any amount of pressure, execute like the correct play in a deck as simple as Ryziel. I had less of an understanding of the decks surrounding the format than I should have. Like I should have known the HFD thing. I should have been more prepared against Mitsurugi, though I didn't play against it in the tournament proper. And that's just on me. Like that's stuff I'll have to find time for when I do a try hard run again. The next event I'm playing, I believe, is the YCS in Vegas, and I will be tryharding the Ultimate Time Wizard. So that's a completely different preparatory process, but you know how it is. Then so I'm like, oh well, I'm still here. Let's see what we can do. So the one thing they had here that was different than other YCSs is they had a content creator area. So the content creator area is really interesting. If you all have been to one of these events in the past, it's like a roped off section of like 4 or 5 tables. And in the past, a big problem with it has been to enter, you need to sign in on a sign-in that includes both your name, address, and phone number, which is just then on a piece of paper that anyone who is a content creator can see. So I was like, I'm never using that shit. But this time they were like, we're not doing that this time. You don't have to, provided you've given Konami your information through like a KID. And I was like, great, I'll just put name, right? And so I'm chilling in the content creator area. It was good that it existed. But it wasn't perfect. It was right by the announcements. So people were filming things, and it was like, what's up, guys? I'm here at the YC. Alex Johnson, please report to Time Wizard Pod 16. And it was like that all day. And then, like a couple hours into being in the content creator place, the Ultimate Time Wizard started taking up too many tables because it capped at like 300, and then like 30 extra people ended up in it for some reason. So they ran out of space, and they were like, we need to use these 4 tables to house 16 people. It's so it worked. The content creator area was also next to the parent rest area. Yeah, and when they were kicking us out, they were like, you can go film in the parent rest area. And I was like, no, we can't, because the parents haven't signed a fucking written release form, right? There's just no way. So I however, near the end of the day, it did free back up again. And so since I was out, Dan of Vaudio came over, and we actually filmed a pretty significant portion of this big April video I keep talking up. So I'm super excited for that. We got a lot of good footage in. There was one guy who wanted a signature, and we were like, oh, we got to use him. And so we roped him into like staging a scene for the actual video. And it took him like 15 minutes, and I was like, I'm so sorry. We have just like, you wanted like a 30-second hello, can you sign this card? And we've just like roped you into this. But I think it will, I think it'll end up good. They also had a feedback form, which I intend to use. I think that a content creator space could be really good and could serve a fantastic purpose, but doesn't yet. One thing that it actually did that was pretty helpful was early in the day, I used it to sneak out and do a little bit of homework. And then as people realized I was in there, a sort of line formed right outside the content creator area to where the like content creator area sort of became like a kind of de facto meet and greet spot. Like that was actually really helpful. So instead of people just kind of flagging me down all day, they were like, "Oh, they're coming to meet me here," you know? That was nice. Uh anyway, I do appreciate everyone watching my videos this weekend because I was fucking uploading them on shit tier convention center Wi-Fi, shit tier mobile hotspot Wi-Fi. I found out there's a limit to how much my mobile hotspot can do in terms of data. I didn't know that. And then, but I stayed in the event space day one for a long time because Gage and Doug were playing in Ultimate Time Wizard. Gage had a pretty good run with Vayu. But Doug had an immense run with Sky Scourge, Noraleus, Turbo. So he was playing like the Dark Creator, Trade-in, Allure of Darkness, Phantom of Chaos ass deck. And honestly, it's a really good build. Go check out his tweet. He was 5-1 going into the last round of day one. He lost that round. Theoretically, could have stuck in to try and sneak in because I think X2 cleared to top cut. 350 people, they did top 8. But he was like, I'd prefer to not risk it and just go to Epcot all day. So that's what he did. He was playing out of his mind too. We watched a lot of his games. It was like he was doing really, really well. He was in flow state for sure. So I left the place at like 9 and I ended up going out having a good time with Danny and Leah and some friends. Coder was there, Half Miss was there, et al. And we went to this like pizza place. I think it was not supposed to be a pizza place, but we got pizza that had like the fruitiest drinks that I've ever had. And it was a real, the green text about the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity. You're all familiar with that? Where someone wants to order the fruit flavored pancakes and the waiter goes, "We don't have any fruit pancakes. What are you talking about?" They go, "This one." And they go, "Say it." I had that experience with a drink called the I Glitterally Can't. It was a bunch of, the first time I said it like proudly, I was like, I would like the I Glitterally Can't. By the second one, I was drunker and a little more self-conscious, and I was like, let me get another one of these. And the waitress was like, another one of what? I was like, well, this drink. She's like, are you talking about? And I go, yes, I would like another I Glitterally Can't. It was good. It also was glittery. And then we went to a second location. I love going to a second location that had a bar. It was like an arcade with a bar. Then we played a lot of the arcade. And I got enough tickets to get a rubber band gun. And I was being the most annoying I've ever been in my life with the rubber band gun. It was so much fun. So went to bed, watched a little more Family Guy, woke up the next day. But not before uploading the Spice 8 Rack video at 1:30 in the morning. I'm so sorry about that shit. It wasn't until the third day that I realized there was an easier way than uploading on hotel Wi-Fi. What I could do instead was remote into my home PC, upload from my Wi-Fi here, and then edit it at the hotel Wi-Fi. You're so dumb. That is not an intuitive solution. That video was fun. It did kind of bad. I feel bad. I think it probably did bad. 1, because my viewers aren't familiar with Spice 8 Rack, and 2, probably because I uploaded it at 1:30 p.m. 1:30 in the morning. The background music in that video is an unreal distraction. It's possible. I liked it. All right, okay. Anyway, so Sunday I go to Epcot. Now, fun fact. I Did not know I was going to Epcot. So on Friday, I get there, and Leah's like, "Are you excited for Epcot?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm not doing Epcot." And she was like, "What? Yes, you are." And I was like, "What?" And a couple of other people in like the larger group were like, "I'm excited to hang out with you at Epcot." And I was like, "Who told you I was going to Epcot?" Basically, I don't know who. I think it was Leah. Someone was like, "Oh yeah, Joseph's coming to Epcot." And then everyone believed I was going to Epcot, which meant I had to go to Epcot. So Sunday I went to Epcot. And I've never been to Disney at all. I this was my first time. Personally, it is not something that allures to me for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I'm stingy. I don't like to spend money. And secondly, it's just for babies, right? It's like, oh, here's the little cartoons. I'm not gonna spend money on that. Epcot was a lot of fun. I get how people ruin their lives over this. This was just I think I called it a couple times. I was like, oh, this is just a straight Renaissance fair. This is just a straight people's Renaissance fair. It was nice. I enjoyed it a great deal. So Danny was kind of the guide that brought us everywhere. We started at the Ratatouille ride in France, and that ride, Jillian couldn't come with me on this trip, and that was for the best because every ride in Epcot would have killed her. She has like migraines, and like every ride was like, and here's another migraine trigger. Don Kishan, thank you for the 46. Good to see you this weekend. While we're in the hour-long line for Ratatouille, I get in this fight with Peeps online where, like, Peeps is like, Bellis is so unhealthy. And I'm like, dude, come on. Be real. But Ratatouille was good. It's a fun ride. So then we go to a French restaurant. I speak a little French. Not a lot, but I'm like, I would like to order in French because I didn't know the people who work there are from France. And so I did get to riff with the waitress a little bit. I did get to order in French. If you're unfamiliar with the Epcot French restaurant, they have like salmon. They have like a beef stew. They have like a pilaf. So I'm there with 8 people. 6 of them ordered macaroni and cheese. How the fuck do you go to the French restaurant? You go, donnez-moi le mac et fromage. Come on! It's Disney, dude. Who cares? That's why you should get something else. You can get mac and cheese anywhere. And I don't want to be like this. But not a damn person who ordered mac and cheese finished their mac and cheese. They were all massively disappointed. I was like, that's a skill issue. Was it a good French restaurant? It was fine. It was great. Hey, Chuggington. We're actually going to have to go back a little bit. I've been yapping too much. Anyway, so we then went to Mexico, and oh man. The Mexico part, they do not pull punches on their drinks. All of us got like the same drink. It was this it was like the Fiesta drink. It's like 4 frozen margarita flavors sloshed together. And Doug takes a sip and is like, dude, you're gonna have to try this. And I was like, what? Oh man, it was just liquor. It was just tequila. There was nothing else in it. It's just this much tequila. So we were like gone off like 1, and it was nice. We drink some more in China. I love China. The China one is so fun. We'll say there obviously a significant portion of Epcot is a little problematic. The China one, there was one thing that I was like, I don't know about this, and it's that one of the souvenirs they sell are like rice paddy hats. You see like 40 suburban dads walking around with the rice paddy hats, and you go, I don't know. But it was fun. They had this drink that was like, oh God, what was it? It was like a blue and vodka, and it had little tapioca pearls in the bottom. That was just insane. That got me all the way there. Dan got it into his head that he needed to purchase a sword and have it shipped to him. I don't know if he did. But we'll see. So in Norway, someone recognizes us. So it's always weird to get recognized at a place that's not Yu-Gi-Oh! It happened to me 2 or 3 times at Epcot. I'm like, there's an YCS in the area. I'm sure it will happen. But the person who saw us in Norway, I don't know if you're watching or if this has made its way to you. They were talking to us about playing Gladiator Beast in main event, and we were riffing. I was gone. Like I could not put a sentence together. Like I appreciate there's a picture of us. I don't know how Doug and Gage are feeling in that picture. I'm clearly feeling good. In fact, let me see if I can't find that picture real quick for you so that you can kind of get a good cross section into my mental state at the point in which I was hanging out with these people. Pull up the picture. Jamie, can you pull up the picture? Yeah, here it is. Okay. So, oh God. Yeah, it's just immediately apparent what's going on here. So here's the 4 of us. So, Doug, Gage, they're doing good. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling great. Oh man. I've never seen you smile like that ever. I was happy. I don't know what to tell you. Then what else? Then we go to Japan. And Japan, I didn't know, is just fun little toys. It's just a bunch of blind boxes and like Kirby shit, bunch of anime clothes. So then it's like 6 p.m. and we go, oh shit, we need to do a bunch of rides. So we start chaining rides together. We did Soaring, another ride that would have killed Jillian, where they like Patrick Warburton goes, hey Peter, we're gonna put you on an airplane. You're gonna go over the Great Pyramids of Giza. That was fun. We did the Figment ride, which really impressed upon me. I didn't know this, but Danny was like this, that every ride used to be small variations on Small World After All. Like you get in a slow-moving cab and look at a bunch of shit-tier animatronics. It's only recently that they were like, we need to put better stuff in. So Figment was one of those for sure. But he farts on you, which is funny. Then we did World of Tomorrow, which was so fucking funny. It was like, it started like, back in the day, the Romans invented math, right? And then at the end, it's like, what may happen in the future? We will use wind or solar power to get in our flying cars. And I'm like, okay, this is very 70s, but sure, I appreciate it. And then we did Space Mission. Have you guys ever done Space Mission? So, Space Mission is... I didn't know this. This was the last one we did. And it is... Wow. It is not supposed to be the last one you do. I was very drunk and had eaten more food than ever before. What Space Mission is you get in a pod that's like just about as, it's not accommodating for the 2020 male. It's accommodating for like a 1970s slimmed down shorty. And you press 2 buttons. That's the ride. You press 1 button, 2 buttons. But you're like role playing like a commander of a spaceship, and to simulate it, they put G-forces on you and they spin you around and they like, so I have fun. And we did the orange course. There's 2 courses, an easy course that's green and an orange course that's hard. We did orange because I'm stupid as hell. And as like the second it starts, I'm like, I'm going to throw up. This is the ride where I throw up. And it's me and Half Miss and Danny and Leah. And I'm like, you all, I was so proud to serve with you today. I'm going to throw up. And like, I just sort of locked in. And I was like, the next 5 minutes, I just have to grin and bear it. And I have to not throw up. And I didn't throw up. I will say I did not throw up. But for the next like 30 minutes, I was like, man, it was really rough. And also you can't close your eyes. I was like, I know how I'll get out of it. I'll close my eyes. But they warn you at the beginning. They're like, do not fucking close your eyes. Like, they were like, if you close your eyes, you're going to feel super disoriented and you will throw up. They're like, it's just proven. But it was fun. We made it out of that ride just in time to watch the fireworks, which were very romantic. I wish I could have shared them with Jillian, but she wasn't there. And then we went home and we watched the premiere. I had been waiting for this all week of Common Side Effects. Did anyone do this? New show on Adult Swim. It's by the executively produced, I guess, by Mike Judge. But it's by the God, what is it? The Strain. It's by a couple of people who've made other good stuff. The first two of them are out. If you haven't seen them already, it's like a story-driven show that's like adult animation. Two things that are frustrating. One, they aired it at TV 14. Like it's a TVMA show, and they aired it at 14 and bleeped out fuck. And I was like, don't do that. Let them say fuck, because they say fuck really naturally. A lot of the time when people say fuck in TV shows, they're like forcing it. Here it's like just part of their lexicon. It sounds really natural, and it's good. It's important. It like elevates it. And second, it was really good. It was really good. I did enjoy it. It's funny in sort of a dry kind of cosmic way. There's not like jokes really. But it's not meant to be like funny. It's meant to be like interesting. So I was really excited about that. I'm excited for the next episode next week. The has-been hotel effect. Yeah, there's no like whip cracks, I will say. I do want to talk kind of generally about like people who came up to me though. I gotta say, I don't know if it's something in the water or whatever. You all are kind of coming out of long COVID or something, but like everyone I met was so cool. Everyone was so kind. Everyone was so normal. I had zero strange ass interactions. Zero people where I was like, you gotta go, man. I'm not interested in speaking with you. Every single person was like a joy to talk to. I was so happy to speak with the people. I spoke with a lot of people who were like, I like this show you do. I like that show you do. Always love hearing that. A lot of people, and it's more every YCS that are like, I listen to WotC with my partner. And I'm always like, great. I'm glad we're doing something that it doesn't just appeal to Yugists. And a lot of people were like, I really like Freaks. I was like, you really like Freaks? What's your fucking problem, dude? I don't know. It was strange. Thank you to those of you who listen to Freaks, I suppose. If you are one of those partners, you are probably, you could be given financial compensation for what you've been through. No, YCSs are always a bit of a mixed bag for me. Doubly so when I do kind of bad at them. Because on one hand, I'm like, Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm so happy to be able to be here with all this energy. But on the other hand, I'm like, maybe I'm falling short of expectations, stuff like that. This one, I felt nothing but joy the entire time. I felt nothing but joy. I was so happy, even when getting my fucking teeth kicked in. Never malding, never really in my head. I was just happy to be there and happy to be there with everyone else. I fucking love Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, fucking hell. Like, I played some of the worst games I've ever played in my life this weekend. I played some of the best games I've ever played in my life this weekend. I played a lot of stuff in between as well. And I was so happy to be there with so many people that were, like, so excited to play. Like, it didn't feel like a 2017, like, God, this shit is on its last legs. We are all just here at the apocalypse. It was like, there is so much life in this fucking game. There's so much more it has to give. And I hope I get to be there for it. It was so nice. So much joy you left for most of it. I wasn't around Sunday. I was around the entire time the other 2 days, Friday, Saturday. It was a wonderful time. I appreciate it. Growing up watching. Oh, we'll talk about that, CJ. Don't worry. But it was really, really enjoyable. Man, that's grim to hear. Sorry, Siberian. There will be a Yu-Gi-Oh! For another decade. When are they doing another Philly YCS? Soon, I assume. Can you decide if Yu-Gi-Oh! Is dying or not? It's getting irritating. I don't know. I think it's doing all right. I will say I am saying this in the middle of a format where you can only play 2 decks at a really serious level, but they're a fun 2 decks. It is strange. It's like the format in which Snake Eye was clearly dominant and there was a bunch of other shit you could play felt so much worse than this format where there's one other shit you can play. In 2 weeks, you can play a 3rd deck. Exactly. You just have to take out a mortgage to do it. That's not even really true anymore. Ryzeal's like, what, $300? Just don't play Fiendsmith, Kappa. I will say, Fiendsmith being in everything is a little sad, for sure. Oh, right. Molcharmuse. Right. There is a Fuelos tax. And probably a Perulia tax. Maybe even a Meowls tax. How much is Primite going for? $1 million. But don't worry. You don't have to buy Primite. Do you still think Rye is a boring-ass rank 4 spam deck? No. It's an enjoyable-ass rank 4 spam deck. And then on the last day of the thing, I'm speedrunning an eating disorder. I have the MyFitnessPal where I count calories, and I was just putting the calories in, and I was like, I'm so fucked. They should, FitnessPal, if you're listening, rather than like making us think of everything we ate over the day, you should put an option in where you can just type in like a whole bunch of shit, just like the name, a whole bunch of shit, and it's just like 4,000 or 5,000 calories, and you just log that and you stop thinking about it. But it was like Friday, you hit your goal because you didn't eat anything until the Korean fried chicken, which you ate 2,500 calories of. The next day was like, you went 30,000 calories over. It's a miracle you didn't throw up before Space Rocket Mountain fight. And then the third day it was the third day it was like, you know what? Let's just not worry about it. There should be a section of the YCS where there's treadmills you can duel on. Oh, I walked way too much. I was at like 20,000 every day. That shit was terrible. Yeah, half miss. I don't know how you lived. It's also true that as I've gotten older, I start getting my back hurts and I get sweaty. Oh, man. But thank you to everyone who came up and said hi. Let's go through the thread real quick. There is a thread of people who said hi that I do want to shout out just because I do appreciate when people reply to this. This person, Adobe MS Paint, gave me a pack of Illuminati game by the Munchkin guy from '94 to open. I'm super excited to do that. This person came up to me with this and was like, "Hey, can you sign my Field Center?" And I picked it up and I was like, "Oh, I have this Field Center." And they go, "No, you don't. You mailed it to me. This was a giveaway one time." Bagushka. We riffed about Magistus. Soy Jack picture. Oh, I also wore the Fauci face diaper on and off all weekend just because I usually get sick around these things. And I was like, I'm already rolling the dice on Epcot, man. A lot of people came up with the wonky quartets. There's, I want to say, like a dozen imperfect wonky quartets that just need the Farfa signature. So Farfa, you are going to get those. A lot of Deep Beyonds. I signed a lot of Deep Beyonds. People are saga pilled. White Aura Whale, did not even craft that shit. I was wearing the Mario Cancun shirt for the first day. We talked about heroes. This person showed up with the little guy. I was so happy to see the little guy. A couple people had the little guy. And I said Ghost Trick Angel of Mischief, of course. How many games did we talked about Droll? And I was like, it's good. It's so good. It is good. Oh. This person's like jerking off to me. Licorice, shout out your... Oh, let's not talk about that, actually. It was nice to meet you, Mr. Twitter Freak. Please don't call me that. Signing Starlights is always very scary. I don't like doing it. I saw Crazy Box there. That was crazy. How often do people come up to you wearing your merch? Very frequently. This is another wonky, another imperfect wonky. This is the... we're so gone. We're so gone. Another wonky signed a Spark Kid at the barbecue chicken place or the fried chicken place. Oh, man. Signed a Joey Structure Rulebook from 2004. Signed an Emergency. There's nice stuff. What the fuck was that? Slifer 274. Thank you for the 69 gifties? Is that for real? What the fuck? Oh my god. If you didn't get one dodged in chat, as simple as that. But I imagine some of you did get them. That's a fucking insane amount. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Slifer 274. Holy. I am a mature adult. I kind of doubt that. Also dodged. Yeah, great. Excellent. They're going crazy on the give money to Joseph challenge. They're killing the give me money challenge. Oh, man. No, but it was a wonderful time. I had such a lovely, lovely time there. Thank you to everyone who came by and said hi. It really meant the world. And I got one insanely funny comment from someone. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was this one. Nah, they may have deleted it, but it was like they were saying like, I just saw you stage someone coming up and signing something. Nice job, you fraud. And I was like, okay. So that person did want something signed, but we did rope them into staging a signature. So you did get me. But it'll make sense April 2nd. Mark your calendar, April 2nd. Sorry, I'm glad we got to jam a game Friday. Sorry for owning you silly style. No, it was important for me to learn. This was the best part of the YCS. I was so happy. Okay, so if you watch my YCS thread, in it, I say that here, hold up. I signed this Trump Field Center. It's like Trump memorabilia. And if you're not familiar with this bit, this person got mistaken for Dyer at an event like 2 years ago. Now, Dyer is a white woman. So this is like a very strange thing to have happened. But every time I'm like, I got to take a picture. I got to be like, I found Dyer. And this one apparently made its way to Kangas, who fucked this up.
I believe I'm here with Dyer, and you have 60 seconds. Guess the card. Go. Is it a monster? Yes. Extra deck? Yes. Is it higher than level 2? No. Does it have a level? No. Is it a link monster? Yes. Is it higher than link 2? No. Is it a link 2? Yes. Is this a competitively viable link monster? Yes. Is this link monster removal? Yes. 30 seconds. Is it monster removal? No. Spell trap removal? Yes. Is it a nightmare? Yes. Is it Nightmare Phoenix? It is. There we go.
Too easy. Dyer, you really got him. Turn it up,
I'm
white
here
boy.
with Dyer.
We're here with Dyer.
I believe I'm here with Dyer.
I believe I'm here with Dyer. Didn't hear shit? Too bad. I think this is actually doctored
And you have 60
footage.
seconds. Guess the
I'm
card.
pretty sure
I believe I'm
it
here
didn't
with
say
Dyer,
Dyer
and you
under
have
there
60 seconds.
originally.
Guess the
I think
card.
it
Go.
said something else. But it's really funny that Dyer is also feeding into it. Dyer doesn't look anything like this, for those of you asking. This was an unbelievable shirt. I got t-shirt bots DMing me about this one. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Seals pass. Someone had me sign Great Gatsby. They got everyone too. Ruxin was there literally for 5 minutes. Ruxin is not indigenous to Florida. He flew down here to be in the place for 5 minutes. He also, like, he quote tweeted this and said, "I'm not tiny. Joseph is just a giant." We're like the same height. Ruxin is tall. I was standing a little behind him. Ugh. And then he left. He's so base. It was unbelievable. He showed up. I had one conversation with him. He was there maybe an hour, and then he left. Oh, man. He did pick up some prize cards, though, which was really cool. By winning.